It's just hard. You got to get through it. I mean, naturally, there's a documentary filmmaker who was far better set up to make the situation happen because he was actually in possession of film materials to do his documentary. But aside from those overbearing and daunting variables of my own problem in not having created the documentary, he went through a period where everyone was just like, "Okay, Burger Boy, let's just do this. We'll see what happens." And he was just humiliated constantly, even by the doctors he was paying to be a part of the documentary. And it wasn't until his life was literally in jeopardy that they realized the significance of what he was doing in relation to how bad fast food is for you. I know a lot of people want to reconstrue ultimately these variables to be a self-admission to guilt in my own problems, in my own, context and world and circumstance. But if you had any clue what was going through my head, you'd be able to see how easy it's going to be for me to prosecute, unofficially, obviously, the Americans for not seeing several significant illegal activities being sort of molested against me, to coalesce in some outrageous customer experience here in America. But ultimately, I keep myself strong because I know one day I'm going to get out of this. One day I'm going to be able to afford a camera. One day people are going to stop acting like they're helping me when they're not. The only person who's kind of helped me was Dave throughout this entire thing. Everyone else is just kind of giving me sort of a bad situation to deal with. No one wants to admit it. Everyone wants to sort of curb my agenda, curb my appeal to sort of validate America doesn't exist and deal with it somehow in a constructive fashion. But no celebrity, no politician, no man of means, no one has done anything constructive or beneficial other than Dave. And he has fucked with me plenty of times, utilizing the same source of ridiculousness everyone else has, to sort of mess my head up a little bit with it. But ultimately, I realize these are all sort of like little programs in a matrix or Lego robots in a kid's movie. And I can't expect them to have the high functioning concept and construct of how this is all going to actually go down. For me, it's very simple. Ultimately, get cruel and unusual punishments underway after eventually anchoring into a situation where I'm not being screwed over. That's going to only happen once I get out of the country, naturally, which I already had come to realize, but it's continuously happening anywhere I go and everywhere I go at this point. So when I get back to Maryland, I'm going to validate the fact they're not going to hire me at the old job that they did give me a job at. Principal to my record. verify that my environmental contexts and all these variables are too extraneous to overcome and clearly have to be coming from a source into which is motivated to hinder my prosperity and vindicate and validate that whether or not one wants to or can believe that, with my ample amount of reporting these crimes and nobody doing anything about them, it indicates they all were in on sort of the same thing that they did to several Arab Middle Easterners at a time which they could only paint them a threat based on this sort of holy war they've produced for Christ. And again, I don't see a holy war coming from the Muslims. I see a holy war coming from the Americans. This is all principalized off the Zionist Christians of the East Southern Territory, the original Trump town. And ultimately, this is gonna ruin America. It's gonna be an online forum explaining and putting up just that, a place for people to report American cruelty and how we're living in a never-ending paradox as to no one being capable of prosecuting the police. It's a big old pyramid scheme. It's like, well, the police are 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 called, we can prosecute the police for illegal activity. It's like, well, eventually you get up high enough where there's no one policing those police. And if all the police are in cahoots with this whole hero complex and protecting each other in ill doings because they consider themselves above the law, ultimately all levels of security have been compromised by us taking over the planet and not really caring to share it. So how this all works out, I don't know. But indubitably, there's no chance America's going to survive a form which I'm going to attract global viewers to, where eventually people are going to be able to just pour on video after video after video of the sick, cruel atrocities, rapes, killings, imperial activity. I mean, it started out with New Yorkers taking over Southerners' land and stuff like that, but, that's how the Americans act all around the globe. And when it becomes clear America has not prospered in creating anything beneficial, just created a bunch of problems and roughed its way into being the infrastructural contractor for the planet's indubitable need to modernize. You're going to see a lot worse than an insurrection, I'll tell you that much.